Scott, it's funny how we just talked about Star Wars Outlaws getting a major backlash, the fact that they put a Jabba the Hutt behind a paywall mission here, and then you get into No Rest for the Wicked, and their launch trailer drops as the devs talk about the promise of no microtransactions, always online, or an anti-cheat software. Like, this is like the complete opposite of that one. But if you missed it, check us out over at ITGTV.com. This is Ed the Horn over at Rock, Paper, Shotgun. As a big fan of Ori and the Blind Forest, yep, absolutely. I'm very excited for Moon Studios' new venture, No Rest for the Wicked, an online ARPG which swaps the cutesiness of Ori and the ickle wickle forest for top-down fights against abominations slathered in muck and entrails. A new early access release trailer highlights said fights alongside the devs, saying that there's going to be no microtransactions, no always online requirement, and no anti-cheat software bundled in. I don't want to speak too soon, but so far it looks like we're on to something pretty darn good here. Scott, as I said at the top of the show, I
agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, can you imagine? Like, what if we all devs took this approach? This is nuts. Like, this is not something you hear about ever. Now, granted, some games need that anti-cheat, right? When you get into the Call of Duties or something along that line, right? Where it is competitive. Yeah. This isn't a competitive game. This is an online experience, which can be played offline. Let's get into it, man. I'm so excited for this game. I can't wait. The trailer accompanies Moon Studios' most recent Steam announcement discussing the statement of the game at launch. Besides the lovely art style, what stands out to me is the variety of weapons and monsters on show. Weapons-wise, we've got staves that ping fireballs, two-handed curved blades, bows, claymores, spears, fiery broadswords, and a scimitar. Enemies-wise, we've got a lot of gangle, lots of lanky guys, lots of floaty tendrils and capes. That's one way to describe it.
I like how Ed Thorne writes.
they would have all made for talented basketball players.
Interesting observation.
I'm not against carefully considered non-predatory microtransactions, but I'm even less against games that have none of them. The game not requiring an internet connection is another win. Moon Studios co-founder Gennady Karl had a bit to say about this over Exeter. Is that what we're calling this now? I'm saying X in March, writing, quote,
Ed Thorne quickly losing points here.
Quote, even though Wicked was built from the ground up with multiplayer in mind, we did not want offline play to feel like a second thought. And we want people to be able to play on the go when connection quality is not always ideal. End quote. As for anti-cheat, I may be ignorant, but I simply don't care whether a game has it or doesn't. Those Kendrils can watch me browse for a new pots and pan set if they'd like. No Rest for the Wicked.
I don't want any malware. Hold on.
Oh man, too funny. No Rest for the Wicked launches on Steam in early access in April 18th. It'll include, quote, rich first chapter, end quote, of the story alongside lots of weapons, bosses, additional quests, and a replayable Serum Crucible dungeon. 4-player co-op. Yes, Scott. Dude, I'm just, man, this game is, I can't wait. PvP, additional map regions, and more are also planned to arrive before it leaves early access. The devs haven't set a date for when it'll enter 1.0. Wow, Scott. This is quite the early access introduction, I think, is what we're getting into. So No Rest for the Wicked will be available at an introductory price of $35.99 on Steam. So, and then the early access period, seems like they've got a roadmap of 4 different setups, what we're getting into with PvP, online, co-op, all these introductions of things that are going to come down the line. And I'm going to start on PC, Scott, but I'm going to end up on console when we get 1.0. And I can't wait, dude. This is... I haven't been this excited for a game in quite a while. I take a look at the roadmap this year. I go, man, what's coming out? We've been playing some great games, hands down. But this one, it's the team that brought us Ori and the Blind Forest.
That one really made a connection with you, Ori. I actually haven't played through Ori in the Blind Forest.
So
I'm very far behind on Moon Studios games here, but I'm a little worried that because it's advertised as no anti-cheat. I'm worried the PvP is going to be soured quickly by some people that want to get in and kind of ruin it for everybody. But hopefully, there's a way of just shutting off that PvP or something that the devs can contend with without having to add all this anti-cheat stuff that bogs down a computer.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the PvP side of it is. For the most part, for me, I'm looking to go co-op. I'm not really looking to get into the PvP side. So the anti-cheat thing, I'm just like, whatever. But when you get into the PvP side, like a Call of Duty, right? That plays into a factor here. So maybe that will here at the end of the day as well. Hopefully not. But from what I've seen so far, and the way I'm looking to play is, dude, I want to go out. I want to go farm for resources, gather that up, take it back, build my own house, build that outset, bring in friends, play some co-op stuff, go do some boss fights, go do the dungeon, and just have a good time. And we'll see if the PvP element is even something I take a look at. I think at the end of the day, is that something you'll consider?
Yeah, I think so. If we become strong in that game, that might be the next logical step. If we're done running through the dungeons, that might be a way to keep the game going a little longer.
Yeah, it might be, right? It's one of those things. Okay, now I've done everything else. Maybe now it is time to give that PvP side a run and see what that's all about. What rewards are we given by doing that, by completing that? But the art style, dude, this art style is just absolutely incredible. Like, I can't believe this. You come off of Ori, and then Ori Will of the Wisps, Ori in the Blind Forest, and then you get into this now. I can't wait to see what they pull off next. Moon Studios is one of the top tier developers in my books right now that I'm just paying attention to, and every little detail I want to follow and I want to know more about, and want to see how far they can really push this game. They say they want to redefine ARPGs. Like, those are big words, right?
Very bold statement, yeah, especially in the world of ARPGs today.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see where we land here, but yeah, dude, it's almost here. I can't wait.
Very almost here.